I come from 7 generations of farmers, of people who farm the land by choice and by force. Several years ago, as I was exploring the opportunity to invest in the creative industries in Africa, I met a 7th generation shoemaker. I was mad that I had not up to that point made such forthright claims to my deeper, hundreds of years old history. I claim my culture and heritage. However, over the past 7 years, as I've built a business in Nigeria, I've had a lot of feedback on these claims. You did not grow up in Nigeria. You're only half Nigerian and half African American. How are you coping? It comes down to identity as a personal choice and the strength of Igbo culture and the strength of Black culture and the sense of home. African societies are built on the foundation of shared ownership, which goes beyond physical assets to something more in the heart. In Ezeagu local government area in the southeast of Nigeria, where my family is from, there's a story about a man, Ezeagu, who has 5 sons, whose children form the communities of the current Ezeagu. The communities have a jointly owned history that in part helps to bind them together. On the other side of Africa, in central Kenya, the Kikuyu tribe, the country's largest tribe, has a similar story. There's an idealism in the origin stories and myths, and a reminder of what has been and what could be. The concepts of community in the origin stories continue today. In some countries, farmers work together in farmer cooperatives, spending 1 day per week working together on a cooperative member's farm, rotating farms each week. And in rural Nigeria, there are over 82,000 cooperative groups today. Why do these histories and collective action matter? Partly because we can learn so much from our history as we embark on reimagining the southeast of Nigeria and attempt to fix what is broken in the southeast. My father says that while growing up in the village before Biafra, Nigeria's civil war, that his parents could not have imagined that the investments they made in his and his sister's education would lead to their leaving the village or to him becoming an international PhD holding economist. We've seen firsthand the importance of investing in education in our family, and we have invested in education. However, investing in only a handful of people in the hopes that they succeed will not allow our region to progress, or at least it will not progress at the pace that's required for the 21st century. If we only invest in a small handful of people, they will need a great amount of luck to make it. In the past, we've counted more on communal investment in collective success. Town unions developed scholarship funds and made joint investments so that nobody was left behind. Each person would contribute what they could, even a nominal amount, for the benefit of the community. The communal investment reduced the amount of luck that each individual needs to succeed, and it acts as a safety net, helping to spread the luck around. We have strong cultural fundamentals for inclusive economic growth in the southeast of Nigeria, and that's good news. First, we have a hard work ethic in the southeast, and this can be seen very clearly from the number of vibrant markets we have operating compared to the rest of Nigeria and the density of the market activity. We have nearly 75% of people in the southeast who have mobile phones, and we know this from the number of forwarded messages we receive on WhatsApp. We have nearly 100% of the adult population that has had some amount of formal education. And we know that women are valued. And we can see this visibly from the number of female entrepreneurs and the strength of Igbo women as traders. While we have a strong foundation, individualized investments in the few will not rapidly develop our region. How can we build from this foundation and apply our hard work ethic and entrepreneurial talent that we exhibit to benefit the collective? I'll share a few anecdotes of the challenges with individualized investments. It's said in the Southeast that if you enter into a business partnership, deaths soon come, that your mortality rate increases. Can we instead reimagine business partnerships that allow businesses to last beyond the death of their founder? We host many self-congratulatory celebrations, and Nigeria is known for its big birthdays and its weddings. Can we reimagine celebrations that focus instead on the community and less on showing off individual wealth? In Enugu, we have many self-appointed princes and princesses, but we did not have hereditary inheritance of titles previously. Can we reimagine a future without the made-up hereditary titles, where merit earns any titles as they did before, and where we invest in everyone becoming Igbo princes and princesses? People from the Southeast, who are in the wealthiest 1% of the population and who live in Lagos or Abuja or elsewhere, build massive houses in the village, which lay empty throughout the year. Can we reimagine investments in our villages in communal resources that are used daily instead? Over the years, I have contributed to school fees, and it's a common story. A number of people from the Southeast pay school fees for their brothers and sisters, their cousins, extended family, and strangers, in the hopes that we're investing in the handful of people's future success. Can we reimagine investing in education in a way that benefits the community? Water that was previously communally owned is being passed down through hereditary entitlement and accessed via boreholes behind private walls. The lucky few with secure land tenure have water access, and everyone else must request for it or else buy water. Can we instead reimagine community access to essential resources such as water that provides a foundation for dignity? Continuing these individualized investments for the few in the hope that preparation meets luck to create economic opportunity is a risky endeavor. This advertisement, in which a father from the Southeast disowns his son in a national newspaper, went viral a few years ago. When I shared it to my father, he noted that intergenerational crises are not unheard of here and now. As the advert shows, there's a big risk in investing in the few. What if after all that investment, they don't make it? Are we willing to bet our future on this? My team in Lagos will tell you that I can't recall song lyrics or remember artist names, but when I see inequality, the oppression that often follows from privilege and access, and the challenges we face as a nation with such clarity in our data, it remains stuck in my mind. My least favorite and most concerning PowerPoint slide was one I originally made in 2014, and I've recreated it here. Even at the time when Nigeria's economy grew its fastest and we became Africa's largest economy overnight, unemployment and underemployment ballooned. In the East, the data shows similar inequalities. I'll share data now on food, toilet access, financial services, and even on government expenditure to highlight some of these inequalities that we need to address. In agriculture, we're not meeting our agricultural potential, and we're a net exporter of produce as a region. 70% of adults live in rural areas, and 15% of adults in the Southeast are subsistence farmers. Subsistence farmers are growing just enough to eat, and perhaps are growing enough to sell into the market. These farmers, however, are facing increasing volatility of rains, which reduces yields. And for the farmers who are able to produce enough to sell, they're selling once in every 4 days, given our market calendar. What happens in between? Money gets tight, farmers are forced to sell when prices are low, and in between market days, produce is going to waste. And while we have food going to waste, we also have a food security challenge in the Southeast, and it's particularly acute in urban areas. On the slide, you'll see that compared to the national average, the Southeast is faring well when we look at the number of days of food per week a household is consuming across different categories of food. The starchy roots, tubers, and plantain category includes foods like pounded yam or mbacha, which are made from cassava. So in Ebonyi State, families are eating cassava or plantain an average of 5.4 days per week. It seems that we're faring well. However, if you look more closely at Enugu State, it has the lowest number of days of food per week across all 10 categories that the National Bureau of Statistics collects for. Interestingly, however, only 25% of households in Enugu are sharing food with non-household members. And this level of meal sharing is low even for the Southeast, and it's the 5th lowest meal sharing rate out of 36 states across Nigeria. Is it that we don't have enough food, or is it that we're not sharing? Will we be able to reimagine the Southeast if not everyone can access affordable food? I find that inequality is most visible in the most basic of services. And a few years ago, as I was studying access to improved toilets in Nigeria and in Kenya, I gained a deeper understanding of the varied access to improved toilet facilities, even within the same community, and the significant market that exists in delivering toilet access. The data for the Southeast bears this out. Basic services are not spread evenly across the region or even within the same state, and there is significant unmet need in toilet access. Shown in the yellow shaded area at the top of the chart, in Imo State, 40% of the population is using a flush toilet with sewage or septic system access, compared to Enugu State, its neighbor, where only 20% of the population has access to such toilets. In the orange shaded area at the bottom of the chart, you'll note that 20% of the population in Imo State does not have access to any toilet facilities. That's 1 in 5 people who do not have access to a toilet. However, that's low when compared to Enugu State, where 45% of people are using the bush or fields to use the toilet. Will we be able to reimagine the Southeast with such disparities in access to the most basic services? The data on access to finance tells a similar story. Access to finance levels have generally remained the same from 2012 to 2018 in the Southeast as the population has grown. People have migrated from informal to formal financial services, according to the Nigerian nonprofit Afina, although it's hard to note a change over the years. However, when you look more closely, Ebonyi State lags behind the rest of the region significantly. Can we develop the Southeast without developing Ebonyi State? Considering Ebonyi makes me wonder about other excluded groups and parts of the country. What about the Northwest, where financial exclusion is 62%, or the Northeast, where it's 55%? What about women who we know are excluded in part due to gendered factors such as lack of income, lack of education, and a low trust in financial service providers? If we can't access these basic resources, how can we think about developing as a region? And we know that government resources are an important part of this. And the Southeast governors have tried to come together in previous years to consider what is possible as a region of 21 million people, about the size of Lagos, Nigeria's largest city, rather than as individual and quite small states. One challenge that will persist without radically addressing poverty and inequality is the limited ability of the states to generate what we call internally generated revenue, or IGR, which comes from taxes, road levies, and other charges. Enugu State and Ebonyi State have stood out in terms of their underperformance across food, toilets, and financial services. However, both state governments are somehow collecting the most IGR per capita of any state in the Southeast. And Ebonyi State is collecting similar amounts of road taxes as Enugu, though we know the poor state of the Ebonyi roads. We can and should ask questions about individual state performance and governance. The bigger takeaway for me, however, is that the average revenue available to the Southeast states for the first 6 months of 2020 was approximately 8,000 Nigerian naira, or $20 per capita. From that, only about a quarter, about 2,000 Nigerian naira, or $5, is coming from internally generated revenue. That is not much money on a per capita basis. Nigeria and the Southeast are at a critical turning point where we need to come together to jointly reimagine how we all want to live. Over the past few months, digitally connected youth have demanded for change and shown a new way forward. The NSAR's protests showed a glimpse of what is possible when individuals invest collectively and inclusively for the greater good. The history of our communities and our town unions also shows a way towards collective action. The traditionally village-based communal decision-making, dispute resolution, and other systems are a Southeastern treasure, and they're alive and well today. How can we learn from our history and from ongoing social movements and collective action and inputs for a way forward? This year, I've seen firsthand that my generation of extended cousins is building community. On my mother's side in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and all over America, and separately on my father's side in Nigeria and globally, we're coming together virtually in a way we previously had not. I'm connecting, planning, and communing in ways that will create a foundation for joint investments, prayer, and collective action going forward. I come back to the same question. Can we move forward as a region if one state or one group is not doing well? Thankfully, the Southeast and Southeasterners are already investing. My question and my push is, can we do it differently to expand access to opportunity and to democratize luck? I have a few ideas. First, we need to stop building mansions in the village that sit unoccupied and start finding other productive uses for those empty houses. Second, we need to create an alternative to Igbo exceptionalism and attract, train, and retain talent in the region, rather than being a net exporter of the best talent and potentially attracting the worst. We need to stop making individualized investments in bags of rice and delivering care packages to the village, and instead come together with others, identify the issues with the community, fundraise from the community, and jointly invest. Fourth, we need to start building businesses that outlast ourselves, have lower key man risk, and that are based on healthy partnerships and governance. And finally, we need to stop focusing only on our own villages as a community and consider investing in states where we're not from. I come back to an earlier question. Can we progress as a region if Ebonyi State is left behind? The state governments collect on average 8,000 naira per person in a 6-month period. What if those that can put together 8,000 naira with others in their community to invest in unnamed, communally based scholarship funds, or to invest in social entrepreneurs who focus on toilet access or water access or solar-powered cold storage or financial access points? The investors could come from as many of the 21 million of us as possible. And if one person were to contribute 30 naira or 10 US cents each weekday, that equals 8,000 naira over the course of a year. When put in these terms, the power of the collective is significant, and it can be the way that we reimagine. The Southeast that I would like to reimagine places adequate value on and invests in home, broadly defined, and selflessly allows luck to be democratized so that all of us can reimagine. Thank you.